Taurus, this is your October 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find that this resonates for the month ahead. Thanks for taking the time to join me and tune into the channel. It's Romy here. So we are going to open up this month with the energy of the Queen of Wands. So now you know what you know. What is going to change? Because you can't betray yourself this month. You have come way too far for that, Taurus. And this is certainly one of the most intense months that we will experience through 2023. But at the same time, it offers us energy that we can harness and leverage. And you're stepping forth with this fierce, bold, confident belief. And, you know, at the core of that, I think is a recognition that you can maintain your peace even as you lean into the uncertainty. And I think, this is definitely a month as we, navigate the eclipse energies. We'll also experience the veil being at its thinnest as we approach Samhain and Halloween. And, this is a time where literally your pathway is littered with signposts and signals. They're constantly showing up. You are going to be receiving help from the seen and unseen worlds. And I think there is a sense of urgency that you're feeling into because you know that the wind is changing direction. And so there's also this trust that you have to, in some areas of your life, let it be, let it go, and let yourself be free of it, because what you're focused on now is really generating this capacity for more of what truly aligns with you, what lights you up. And that's across the board, and the people you spend time with, and the work that you do, and the environments that you are taking the opportunity to visit. And it also requires that you really put some new foundations in place so that you can support your growth and your expansion. So what does that look like practically for you this month, and what does it feel like emotionally? Mercury moves into Libra on the 4th, and that means we're out of shadow fully of the retrograde of both Venus and Mercury. So an awful lot of messages and news and information that was held up or held back or misunderstood is now coming through, and perhaps in quite a powerful wave that will really deliver this very obvious, very clear path for helping you to ascertain, well, what do I need to do now? So your Page of Pentacles I like because there is a sense of the outlook having changed, and that you now understand what has true meaning for you. But what I see with the energy of these two is that you're ready to do what's necessary. You're ready to do what it takes. And there is an understanding and an appreciation from you that's like, okay, I'm not necessarily, fully averse of everything that I need to know right now. I might not have all of the skills. I might not have the experience. I might not fully appreciate or understand, your perspective or what you need from me. But I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to put the work in. I'm willing to show up. And there's a kind of surge of motivation that I feel is arriving for you in October that helps you to make a decision, Taurus. And what's really interesting is I feel that once you make that decision, then some major news is going to follow it up that's going to help you to realize you were right in the trusting of that feeling and in the timing, because it's almost the sense of, oh, thank goodness I made that decision when I did. Now, as we approach the 8th of the month, Venus is going to finally come out of Leo, moving into fellow earth sign Virgo, which is a little bit more comfortable for you by way of the language that it's speaking energetically. This is all about acts of service. Now, interestingly, on the same day, Pluto and Mars are having this really kind of aggressive, charged standoff with one another, and there will be an innate desire to want to break free. So it's almost like, you may feel caught up in a situation or sort of backed into a corner in some regard. even feeling like this is a bit of a showdown, or this is the conversation that's been avoided for a long time. But ultimately, I think there's also a recognition and a deeper desire within you to actually face it, because you know that there's an opportunity to break free. And in that breaking free, you're initiating like a new cycle for yourself, and one that you understand, even if that's very quietly to yourself, has potential. And so even though you may feel the pressure to be something for someone, especially in and around that, that date, and remember, it's right ahead of Pluto going direct in Capricorn, so the waking up of this planet is reminding us that our equilibrium gets sort of shifted about a little bit. But it's also about, well, what have we learned in these past few weeks? And that transformation that took place within us needs to now step forth. And remember, we're in like this final cycle of Pluto in Capricorn. So, when we finish this up, life will look and feel very different. So you are in this sort of process of really tying up the loose ends. And so this kind of showdown, this pressure, this sort of feeling of intensity that might come through around this moment, is also helping you to recognize, what matters, what you really now have meaning connected to in regards to this. And there's this overarching emphasis, of course, through October all around relationships. We're in Libra season, and we also have the new moon eclipse in Libra. So it's recognizing in all of the connections that we have that sometimes we have to find a bridge over the ground that feels impossible to navigate. But you just, in the meantime, need to think about, am I doing what matters to me or what matters to other people? And we have to try to find that balance. But your ace is really powerful. There's also a firm offer coming through here. For some of you, this might be very connected to finances or income, support when you need it, or help to kind of create or fund a project, or striking out on your own, something along these lines. Loved ones are all around you this month. I want you to kind of really remember that. And, if you're in those moments where you're just feeling a bit stuck or a bit unsure, just think to yourself, what would they say? Because you're going to hear the words that you need to, or you're going to come across a message that is absolutely in alignment with something that they would give you by way of advice or counsel at this exact moment. And it will bring you a tremendous amount of comfort. So we have the 10 of Wands showing through here. Now Mars is going to move into Scorpio on the 11th of the month, and there is this intense sort of passionate energy that, travels all the way through the month of October. And you have to remember that great change isn't easy, because it's inspiring us to a growth that often we don't recognize within ourselves, and we don't even necessarily appreciate is possible. So sometimes we feel overburdened, or we feel the weight or the responsibility of having to get it right, or having to try to put on the face or be a certain way as we're sort of dealing with something that behind the scenes is really impacting us on a profound level. But there's a sense of this being worthwhile. Sometimes with the 10, there's a kind of strong message that says, okay, enough, we have to put something down here. But actually what I feel into is that we are so close to the finish line with this that it just takes that sort of push, that momentum through the month of October, that you are going to be able to break free from something that perhaps has felt quite heavy and resistant around your energy field. But remember what I said in the beginning, don't you betray yourself this month because you've come too far. So you have to look to where, you might be falling into old patterns, or there might be comfort zones or quick fixes when something just feels a little too much or too intense. You've got this. Like we said, now you know what will change. Okay? You are going to have a yes this month. I think it's coming in around that new moon solar eclipse, that ring of fire that we'll see at 21 degrees of Libra. But did you really need it? Is there a part of you that was just sort of waiting for that validation when really you could have initiated or given yourself permission to go forth with this? But what we have is certainly an energy that comes through, with the cups showing up here of you getting something that you have been wanting, waiting, wishing, and desiring. And remember, Libra with this solar eclipse is highlighting, it's illuminating the demands that are put upon us in relationships and also the desires that we have. It's a storyline that helps us to stop accepting things that are not serving us, to definitely release codependent scenarios. And we kicked this off in spring 23. This is going to be with us all the way through spring 2025. That's Northern Hemisphere. So, you are working with this narrative, and it will be showing up across all relationships. And of course, as we make our way into Scorpio season, and even as these planets move into the sign, we know this is activating on your 7th house. So there's a mirroring component that's coming through. People's perceptions of you and how that relates to your perception of yourself is going to be a big one that you'll be looking at. But I do have a sense that for you, that eclipse energy coming in mid-month delivers something that, looks and feels like a yes. But honestly, I just think it's a green light that was already there. So we definitely have a requirement to initiate action and to move forward and to put things in motion. And remember, like I said, this is also at the same time, and maybe it runs alongside it or it really underpins it, but you have to put the foundations in place for what's going to be able to support you. Maybe in the relationship, maybe regarding finances, maybe with your work, maybe with being able to have more time for your spiritual path or your mental health, well-being, whatever that looks like. You have to have a powerful intention behind it, because the other thing we know to be true in eclipse season is that this wild card energy, this electricity, can bring in unexpected shifts and changes that really dramatically alter the course of what we're doing or where we're at. Now, we know that there are months that we feel like we're asking perpetual questions, and then there are months that give us those destiny-fueled answers. And I tell you, October is going to be one of those months. You will see the answers showing up repeatedly. But the question is, are you learning from them? What do you make them mean for you? How are you interpreting the answers that the universe is giving you? Because if you're still fighting against it because it's not quite what you wanted or what you thought you wanted or what you expected, then you can put yourself in like a kind of grip hold that's going to feel incredibly difficult. But the Hierophant comes through here, and remember, this is a card that links to your sign. So I love this when it shows up in a reading. It just kind of emphasizes that there's a sense of natural comfort and an ability to be able to project and express your energy, your essence, in a more powerful way. The key is here. We're unlocking something, but again, it's what did we learn? Now that we know what we know, what's going to change? And you are looking at the commitments that you want to make, and that's following a bit of an upside, so a bit of a boost, some positive energy that's come through for you. Remember, like I said, you will make a decision and then major news will follow it up. So we work our way through the month, and on the 21st, Mercury will shift signs into Scorpio just ahead of the sun coming into the sign. You'll start to see lots of shifts and changes going on in the connections in your world. It's like revolving doors, sliding doors, lots of coming and going. But what also is true for you through the course of this month is like, if you think something and you're aware of like, oh, I wish I knew somebody who ... It's like October is one of those times that they can show up. So make sure you're manifesting and setting clear intentions on the type of people, new friendships, the handyman, somebody to help you in your business, an important contact that can open a door, a new romantic partner, or somebody that can help support from a counseling perspective challenges in an existing relationship. Yeah, this is the month where you start to see how these people can show up, enacting the roles, the very roles that you are looking for and desiring at this moment in time. But we also have to create space for that. So often, what I'll see in readings is that things are right there for the people that are asking for them. It's right there. It's in their field of resonance, but they can't see it. They can't see it because they've not actually created space. It's like, oh, I want this so bad in my life, but I've filled my life so full of so many things, both wanted and not wanted, that I can't allow for myself to receive this. So you really have to consider through the course of this month when you want what you want, in spite of the intensity and the uncertainty that you may find yourself in, how much time are you making? Now let's talk about the big news for you this month, October. The lunar eclipse in your sign, coming in at 5 degrees on the 28th. And you know what? This is the closeout. This is the final storyline that kicked off in November 2021. I have no doubt you are acutely aware of what you have been challenged with, grappling with, working through, navigating, transitioning, and, ultimately, of course, hitting in the sense of self, your sense of security. But this is the time now that we need to find closure, that we need to find resolution, and that most importantly, the lessons need to have been learnt. Now, this eclipse is coming in with a few hard aspects just to make life interesting. Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter make for a very dramatic, very exaggerated experience, which means that anything that is going on around that time will be amplified powerfully, which can be positive, but it can also make things a little tricky. It may mean that your response is particularly heightened, or that you're, coming up against a situation that, is almost like a runaway train, so there is a little bit of stress that I feel set to come through, although you look incredibly balanced and motivated and willing to sort of show up to experiences this month. So I do like that for how I'm seeing you come across. We do have a more level-headed Saturn that's going to help to sort of turn things around in regards to any sort of fallout from that eclipse that just, perhaps is not quite as desirable as you would have hoped for. But just keep in mind that is going to be a dramatic sort of powerful, end to the story. And the way for you to most importantly navigate it is to really think and consider back over this period of time since November 21, what you've been going through, what you were learning from that, and the changes that you're going to make. So then, of course, we will come to the 31st and we will celebrate Samhain, Halloween, where the veil, at its thinnest is helping you to connect to the other side. Please be mindful of your energy, extra protection, grounding, clearing, cutting of cords is absolutely necessary at this time. But we have this really powerful Venus trine Uranus on the same day. Of course, your ruler and also Uranus in your sign. So this is going to be interesting and definitely will deliver a few surprises, perhaps from beyond the veil, but certainly helping you to kind of, again, close out that month feeling like a lot more secure in some way, or just like the positive upside of something that perhaps sort of unfolded in a more unexpected scenario than you'd had planned. It can hit, of course, on areas around your love relationships and your income and prosperity. So keep that in mind. And with this big emphasis on relationships through the course of October, you're set to have definitely a final twist to the storyline as we close out the month. Now, if you're new to the channel, Taurus, the last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of my reading. We'll talk for another 30 minutes or so, go deeper into this month for you. I will also look at a personal question and a relationship card. So I hope you'll join me. You'll find the link below. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify our main reading and see some of the messages and the direction that we will be taking this for you. So looking at that Queen of Wands, we come through with the Empress, fabulous. And the Queen of Cups, wow. Okay, it's a lot of divine feminine energy to initiate your reading. 2 of Pentacles. All the decks I use, by the way, are listed in the comment section below. This month, you'll find my soul guided journeys, my meditations. There's an eclipse activation for you to work with, and also a journey to connect with your spirit guides. So just please take a moment to check out my Sacred Soul support over on the website. We've got another Queen of Wands showing up here. There's a fearlessness to you and a fieriness. Like, I'm not sure I'd want to be, challenging you too much this month, Taurus, because I feel like you're very strong in your position over something, especially justice coming through there, because you know it's right. Yeah? Six of Swords. What do we have here? High Priestess. Beautiful. Temperance. And the Eight of Cups. Okay, about this Hierophant here, Three of Cups. You know, commitments will be made this month. And remember, now that the smoke screen has cleared, so to speak, from all of those, you know, slow down planets, you know, you're going to feel much more confident and comfortable in terms of promises that are made, commitments given towards things, and just ensure that you are really taking care of your own needs, wants and desires as part of that. Let's have a look at some oracle cards now. So if you're new to the channel, Taurus, Life Soul Vision is my own personal deck created for you. Please check that out along with my other sacred title, my Moon Musings book. And let's have a look here. What wants to come through? Waterfalls of white light. We have Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadow. We have Karmic Cause and Effect. Portals of Possibility. Queen of Water. And Spirit Owl, Sacred Secrets. Beautiful. Just have such a sense of this decision that you make and then news that kind of follows up like so quickly off the back of it. It's a major decision and choice that you're arriving at. Okay, let's have a look here. Secret Spring Success. Beautiful. And we also have the Angel of Balance coming in for you. Taurus, thank you so much. I'm going to leave it there. We'll cover these messages in the extended. I hope you'll join me. Have a beautiful month of October. Enjoy that final lunar eclipse in your sign this month. And of course, Samhain and Halloween. And I'll see you next time.